Alright, flashing back to a previous video, we were waiting on parts. The most important part we were waiting on is this little roller right here. This is the cam follower roller. This roller is connected to the throttle on the carburetor and is pushed forward by this piece of plastic which has a curve. So I'll demonstrate by pushing the throttle forward. And as it Okay, so that's how it works. Well, anyway, the old one was half the size of this one because this outer sleeve was missing. And the problem the previous owner said he had, and the reason he sold the boat, was because he could get it to run. He could get it to start and run, but as soon as he put it in gear, it quit. Well, this is connected to the timing, and this is connected to the throttle, and the timing has to advance a little before the throttle starts to move forward. And if this is the wrong size, it can advance too much or not enough. You get it. This has to be exact. This line has to go to the middle of this knob. This knob has to be exactly the right diameter, and there has to be a perfect, like 1/16 gap between this and that. Anyway, that was the big deal. What I was thinking would solve all the problems to get this motor running. And it's now on there. A couple of other things I bought were the gasket between this box and the carburetor. It's a piece of brown goodness right here. The gasket in between the front and the back of this air silencer box is the technical name. I also purchased, this piece was cracked and now it's replaced. And I also came over here to the starter solenoid. This is the starter solenoid, and this rubber sleeve back here is brand new. It was all cracked. I replaced that. And while I was at it, I cleaned all these terminals. And what else? I think that's about it. This silicone sleeve was ripped, and I just put some black silicone on it to seal it. New spark plugs. Oh yeah, new thermostat. Gasket. Just the gasket is replaced. I took it apart. Thermostat looked fine. New gasket. And see here, just, oh yes, I was wondering how to keep the throttle from going too far forward because the butterflies were opening past wide open, which is not good. And it turns out it was this set screw right here was backed all the way out, and I turned it all the way in, so when it goes forward it actually stops and hits this when the butterflies are all the way open. So that's fixed. Good deal, good deal. Okay, after I get all the parts on my motor, I'm like, this is it. It's go time. It's time to hook it up to the hose and see if it starts. I did, and nothing happened. Wah wah. So what did I do? The worst thing I could do, I looked under the dash. And what I saw was not cool. Not cool. So, just want to kind of go through some of the stuff I've been taking out. This is the old ignition switch. And that key, and I put WD in there. That's not coming out. So I replaced it. That's gone. Okay. Here's the old lanyard kill switch. New one looks much better. And I assume it worked, but I don't know. The reason is I got under there and looked around at the wiring, and I saw this harness. This was the main power. This is the ignition kill switch. Here's a couple of accessory wires. But yeah, that thing, I wasn't getting it apart. I decided I had to bypass it, and so the whole thing just came out. And but that just caused me to look at other stuff. This is the ground wire that was connecting the ignition switch, the lanyard kill switch, and most of my accessories. I mean, look at this. This is electrical tape just wrapped around, looks like bare wire, just copper. That. This is my ground system, a wire nut. Look at this wire nut. Oh yeah, see? This is what was grounding everything. scary, scary. So that's gone. Another harness I took out, and I can't remember what all this was to, but I decided I didn't need it. Oh yeah, I think it was the rest of the accessory wiring. I just took it all out. I'm gonna redo it. And check that. Like, this is the lanyard kill switch wire. Look, and this is, I don't know if you can see, but it's like all frayed right here, almost to the wire. And then this is in the middle of the wire where I cut it. I'll just take this and even in the middle of the wire, it's not copper colored, it's corroded. It's not good. I mean, most of the wire in there works, and this wire works, but it's just, ew, gross. So I'm replacing as much as I can without going crazy. I am not an electrician. So that was that. But here I can show you some of the stuff that I've been using that I'm impressed with. These are Amazon gems. Here, we're not done with you. Let's get you out. Cutters when you need them. So oh, shitty cutters. Okay, watch this. Take those. Stick that in here. It's a ring, actually goes through the solder. Bought this on Amazon. It's an Amazon find. And here's the thing. You got to get them in there with finesse. They recommend a heat gun. I've been using a lighter. Important thing is to be uniform. And you got to melt that solder in the middle. And as you can see, it gets real soft when it gets hot. It starts to flex. Something you got to deal with. And I just keep heating it. I'm trying to get everywhere, but I really want to make sure that solder's melted or else you don't have a good connection. But then it's soft, so I just kind of hold it till it cools. And I don't know that solder melted. One way to see. Bust out the multimeter, put on continuity. No continuity. Now we got continuity. So you see I had to put a lot of extra flame on that just to soften that up to make sure you get that connection. That's the trick with this. The smaller ones melt quicker and easier, bigger ones take longer. But that's that. These are okay. I give them a B+. You don't want your solder to melt too fast, I understand, but it's kind of tricky. And then this is the other set of stuff I got, and it works the same way, kind of, but take your wire, and I had to get this crimp tool. Comes with it. It's color coded. Yellow, blue, red. Yellow, blue, red. And you choose your connector. And it's got to fit in that hole. So if this one's bigger, we'll go with the yellow. You know. It's a very satisfying click. Still do a pull test. It's good. Don't pull too hard because I am going to do this. Melt this on. Again, they recommend a heat gun. I use a lighter because I don't have a heat gun. Yeah, and that kind of speaks for itself. And then we've got connections. Woo woo. Pretty. Oh. Oh, it's still soft in the middle. Ha ha. Yeah, let it cool. Probably got too aggressive with it. That's on there. Oh, yeah. That's like, I am not an electrician, but this is what I ended up doing. Spin it around, get some light. So, new ignition switch. Whoa, easy now. New bilge pump switch. That turns it on, and this is for the float switch, but it does not have a float switch, so it's just an on switch. Also put in a new nav light. So I have nav lights on the front. There's a stern light, that's just an anchor light. And the horn I left, and this is a new lanyard kill switch. And that's pretty cool. So yeah, let's look under the dash and I'll show you what I did under the dash. First of all, as I mentioned earlier, I cut out a lot of wires. But these are the new wires, some of them. So, over here, new ignition switch. That's a new bilge pump switch. This is the ground terminal block that I took it off and sanded all the contacts and then reconnected a bunch of stuff. Now half of this, most of this is still the old wires. I only cut out and replaced what I thought I needed to get it running. And that's the new nav light switch. And let's see, yeah, no big deal. But yeah, I had this whole, had the seats out, I had wires and diagrams and everything everywhere. If you look under here, got it, the wire bundled. It goes under the gunnel. There, it goes down the boat into oblivion towards the motor. There's the wires going to the bow light. But yeah, I did that. And I really like these Amazon switches. Got a nice click to them. Went ahead and there's no more fuses in these. There's inline fuses on each of the lines. But I didn't want holes in the dash, so Those are still there.
And after that, it still wouldn't start.
So I ended up coming back here and checking the wiring that I was doing. And I had forgot to put on this bottom ground wire, the ground wire to the starter solenoid. No wonder it didn't start. But I had already rewired the nav lights, the bilge pump, the ignition, and the linear switch. But the fantastic news is that it starts. But will it run?
Yes. Yes, it will run.